Clothier about your case. We're on the record on D20-01691SD. The date of our case, Mr. Jordan, you'll remember, was July 7. Presumably you were taken into custody. I don't know the details of it, but you were charged at US 131 near 14 Mile Road in Algoma Township. Mr. Clothier has been talking with the prosecuting attorney, and I know that you just finished your case out of the 81st District Court yesterday. This case is separate and distinct, and you've got to make a decision how you want to go forward. Operating while intoxicated is a criminal misdemeanor. It's up to 93 days in jail. It's up to $500 fine. Court costs can be on top of that, and it gets to be very expensive. You have the right to plead guilty or not guilty, Mr. Jordan. Have the right to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. Have the right to have an attorney, and Mr. Clothier is here, more than capable of representing you. If you go forward and make the decision yourself, Mr. Jordan, there's no trial. Once you plead guilty, we don't have a trial. Then you give up your rights, including bringing in witnesses, cross-examining witnesses, taking the stand yourself, being a witness if you wanted to. If you chose not to, your silence cannot be held against you. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Those are the basic rights you'd forfeit. If you plead guilty, we never have a trial. Do you understand?
Yes.
Any questions that you have so far?
No.
When you were in Iosco County yesterday, were you put on probation?
Yes.
Did you get any jail time?
No.
So on a case like this, you'll be placed on probation, but the case in Iosco is separate and distinct, so you'd have to follow all their rules too. You get that?
Yes.
If there's anything you wanted to appeal about our case, you can appeal it 3 weeks after being sentenced. Within 3 weeks after being sentenced, you could appeal to the higher court, which is circuit. We're district. Any questions about that, Mr. Jordan?
No.
If we go back in time to July 7, which is exactly 3 months ago today, 3 months ago, US 131 and 14 Mile Road, how do you want to plead to operating while intoxicated first offense?
Guilty.
Is it your decision?
Yes.
Nobody's making you plead guilty?
Nope.
Do you remember driving a vehicle in the area of US 131 and 14 Mile Road, part of Algoma Township over here?
Yes.
Are you from Bay City?
I was living there, but I am actually up near Tawas now with my parents.
So now you live up near Tawas in Iosco County?
Yes.
Is it with your mom and dad?
Yes.
In their home?
Yes.
When you had the arrest July 7th, where were you living?
I was actually staying in Grand Rapids at that time.
So you had a Bay City address, but you were living in Grand Rapids. And what caused you to be near US 131 and 14 Mile Road?
I was heading to my sister's.
And your sister was located where?
I don't know the exact address. It's in Grand Rapids, though.
In Grand Rapids?
Yes.
And you were going, and at around 2 in the morning, you get stopped by the police, or are you in a car accident?
I was stopped.
A traffic stop on the highway?
Yes.
Is the Toyota the vehicle that you're familiar with? Is it yours?
Yes.
Was anybody with you that night?
Not in the car, no.
When you were heading to your sister's, had you already been somewhere where you drank alcohol, Mr. Jordan?
Yes.
Where had you been?
I'd been at another friend's house.
When you were at the other friend's house, it wasn't the friend you were staying with?
No.
And you drank what kind of alcohol?
Truly, I think they were called Trulies.
Okay. And when you drank those alcohols and then were heading to your sister, did you drink alcohol anywhere else with anybody else after leaving that friend's house?
No.
Did the officer have you take a breathalyzer right at the scene?
Yes.
What was the result of it? Do you remember?
Like 0.11 or something like that, or 1.2,
Uh-huh.
maybe 0.12.
Enough for
Something like
them
that.
to arrest you. Go ahead, Mr. Clothier.
Judge, the police report reflects a PBT of 0.159, and we would not object to the court considering that as the accurate
All right.
PBT.
But whatever the PBT test result, it was over the legal limit, so they took you into custody. Fair enough, Mr. Jordan?
Yes.
You didn't go to the hospital, did you? You went to the jail?
Yes.
And when you went to the jail, did you take another breathalyzer there, or did they stick a needle in your arm?
I They didn't stick a needle. I must have took another breathalyzer there.
Okay. And you recognize that the breathalyzer they gave you at the jail showed you were over the legal limit as well, correct?
Yes.
And today you're pleading guilty for driving the car when you really should not have been driving.
Yes.
I mean, when you look back on this and you think about it, particularly in light of the case in Tawas area, when did the Tawas case happen? Was it before or after this?
It was before.
What month?
May.
So 2 months before this. And then you had it happen right away again. Isn't that kind of scary? Don't you think about it like that? Like, what are we supposed to tell your parents if you're killed?
Yeah, it is. It is scary.
Did you know anyone in your high school class or anybody you went to school with that was killed in a car accident?
No, I don't.
No, that's a good thing that you don't know them. Because once it happens, it's really, really hard to get it out of your head. It's a horrific thing. And while nobody's thinking that you're planning to cause injury or harm to anyone, whatever was going on in your life at that time, that you don't even think about it, even after being arrested in Tawas, and now get arrested again. It must have been just weird.
Yeah.
How many times do you think you've been arrested?
2.
Those are the 2, aren't they?
Yeah.
And what's your age?
22.
Yeah. Do you have any kids of your own?
I do.
How many?
1.
What age?
14 months.
Do you have any responsibility over that child, or you don't get to see them, or what?
Yeah, I have him every other weekend.
Yeah. So you're not partners with the mother anymore, but you get to see the child back and forth.
Yes.
Would you ever consider having your son in the car if you're drinking and driving?
No.
And it's a pretty basic question, and you said it so fast, it made me think you were going to answer it that way. But when you left your buddy's house and you're heading to your sister's house when this arrest happened, I don't really think you were thinking you're going to be arrested for drunk driving, were you?
No, I didn't.
So I don't know how you protect that 14-month-old, really. And I only bring it up because you have the child. If you're going to take being a parent responsibly, you'd have to do everything you could to protect that kid. And here you got to make some significant changes in how you conduct yourself. Assuming the Tawas case and this case are on the books, your next one is a felony. Your next one is a 5-year felony. And you don't even have to be driving badly. If you have too much alcohol in your system, it's automatic. Do you get what I'm saying?
I understand.
All right. So tell me, as it relates to this, Mr. Clothier, whether you believe the court has complied with the Michigan court rule in terms of the taking of the plea on the OWI first.
Judge, I believe that the court has complied with the court rule, and I would ask the court to accept the plea.
All right. I want to get a copy of that assessment that he had that Tawas Court 81st used. So just get a copy of that to my clerk. And then tell me anything you want to say, Mr. Clothier, and then I'll go from there.
Your Honor, this incident was kind of a strange drunk driving case. My client had recognized that he was intoxicated, pulled off into a party store, walked into the store, went into the store, asked the people that were working in the store if they would allow him to sleep in the parking lot. They agreed to allow him to sleep in the parking lot. The police did a welfare check, checked on Mr. Jordan. Obviously, and if the court has a copy report, they indicated that they didn't have a reason to pull him over for drunk driving, and they just wanted to check on him. And the police verified that he was, in fact, given permission to sleep in the parking lot after hours. However, the police pulled across the street after discussing the matter with Mr. Jordan, and about 10 minutes after they had contact with him, he pulled out of the parking lot and had no lights on. Since that time, however, he tried to get into inpatient residential counseling in Kent County and was declined because of his insurance. He is currently attending Sacred Heart on a regular basis. He has a sober companion, which is basically like a sponsor. His name is Bob McGee in Kent County. I have a copy of the pre-sentence report, and alcohol assessment, which I will forward to the court. He's attending church on a regular basis. He lost his job based on the incident that occurred in East Tawas and went down to Grand Rapids to live with his sister to seek additional employment. Right now, he is not working. He was placed on probation for 12 months. He was assessed $2,230 fines and costs. He is required to participate in outpatient treatment, random testing, 32 hours of community service. And he set up his first appointment with the probation officer in East Tawas yesterday, and that was after we had court, and I'm not sure when his first appointment is. I've known Mr. Jordan's family for quite a while, and when you read the pre-sentence report in the East Tawas case, he said for the first time in his life, he feels like he's got a positive outlook on life. He's changed his group of friends. His sponsor, Bob McGee, or his sober companion, I guess that's what they're calling them now, has been sober since 2006. They golf together. They talk on the phone almost every other day. And I would ask the court to consider either placing him on probation or even unsupervised probation, with the understanding that if you want to set a show cause date to make sure he's in compliant with the East Tawas, Iosco County Probation Department. But it seems a little bit duplicative for him to be on probation in 2 different counties. So
Yeah, I
I
get
would
what
ask the
you're
court
saying. Mhm. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Mr. Clothier. Okay, thank you. You know, Mr. Jordan, if there's anything you can think of that you want to say, you can speak too.
I'm all right now.
Okay. The fact that you may or may not be alcoholic, and I haven't seen the assessment, there's no way that this should have been an arrest 2 months after your arrest in East Tawas. I get what Mr. Clothier is saying is we don't want to duplicate everything, and I made a note of that already. We want you in counseling. We want you in rehab. We want you in a program that's going to get you where you need to go. It's not about who you're hanging out with. It's about what you do. You have to be in control of you. I'm going to order no alcohol, no illegal drugs, no misuse of prescription medication, no marijuana testing. And we'll have the counseling ordered, and it's not going to be duplicative, because we're going to say, look at what East Tawas is doing. Let's see what Iosco County is doing. Let's just get the counseling started. But you're going to have to follow the rules of no alcohol, no illegal drugs, no criminal activity. This could be a situation where we're having to tell, like, your 14-month-old wouldn't even remember you're the dad if you're killed in a car accident. They'd have to hear it from everybody else. And the only reason I asked you about your 14-month-old, or if you even had a child, is so I could make my point. Because if I'm talking about that kid, and you really are a caring parent, you'll work the best you can to get yourself back on track. Not to mention, alcoholism can be a hereditary disease that your son or daughter could have. So think of that when they're 16, 17, 18 years old growing up. Right now, it's a 93-day suspended jail sentence, 92 days suspended, 1-day credit, 1 year of probation, not to be problematic, Mr. Clothier, really running concurrent with the probation he'll have in Tawas, East Tawas. But I want my probation officer to be in contact with their probation officer so we can just monitor that everything that's being done is for the best approach. Counseling, I'm not trying to duplicate anything, but I'm not going to just say we're not going to watch him, because we are. There is 12 days of community service that they'll coordinate. I don't know if East Tawas gave you any community service. If so, you could add it on to what you're doing there, because we're not expecting you to come back to Grand Rapids for that. $730 in fines, $360 is the probation fee, $75 crime victims' right fee, $175 back to the Kent County Sheriff's Department. Unlike East Tawas that had over $2,000, ours is $1,340. While you may have started out with a good intention to stay in this parking lot, it obviously didn't happen. It's very possible that the police being involved saved lives. I'm just coming off of three fatals we've had over the last month, and they are gut-wrenching. I don't know the people, I have nothing to do with the people, but I've had to deal with 3 fatals over the last 4 weeks, and not that they just happened within 4 weeks, they've happened months ago. I'm dealing with the case now within the last 4 weeks of the fatals that I've had, and they are devastating to say the least. Having said that, pulling out of that parking lot, maybe thinking going to your sister's, whatever, maybe the police getting involved. It was really a do-over that you get. A do-over, because nobody was hurt or killed. If you're serious about really looking at yourself and recognizing what you got to do to get back on track, keep thinking of your 14-month-old. Because if you need incentive to get your life on track, that should be the only incentive you need.
I agree.
All right, Mr. Jordan, we'll be in contact with you at your parents' address. Do we have that correct address? Amanda, do we have the Tawas City address? What is the address?
It's 5260 Turtle Road, Turner, Michigan.
5260, did you say? I'm sorry?
Yeah, 5260 Turtle Road. Yeah, Turtle.
Just like a turtle? Okay.
Yeah.
And is it considered East Tawas?
No, it's actually Turner, Michigan. It's about 15
Turner?
minutes. Yeah.
TURNER, Michigan zip code?
48765.
Okay, so the Bay City is completely not proper. Can you
No.
update it to the Turtle address? So you'll be getting your mail at the Turtle address. Just follow up with that. You'll be talking to your probation officer here.
Your Honor, can I give the
Yes,
court some
Mr.
additional
Clothier?
information?
Could you repeat that?
Can I give the court some additional information just to coordinate?
Yes.
His probation officer is Gail Waite, WAIT, and her phone number is 989-362-4441, and that's in the 81st District Court in Tawas City.
Okay, did you get that, Amanda? All right, thank you. We'll let our probation officer know.
And then I will fax that, or I will email the pre-sentence and alcohol assessment to the court to
That would
Amanda.
be appreciated, to the address I gave you, email address. All right, thank you, Mr. Clothier. Thank you for your courtesy. Thank you, Mr. Jordan, for zooming in. Work hard to get yourself back on track. It's a matter of life or death. Really.
Thank you.
Okay.